When winter 2025 hits, it's not just going to be cold, it's going to be weird. Shelves are already looking bare. The power grid is stretched thin, and experts are calling this the most unpredictable winter in decades. Let's cut the fluff. Imagine one blackout, no power, no heat, no fuel, no food for days. What's your plan? Because when the lights go out, it's already too late to figure it out. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about being ready. We've all seen what happens when a single storm shuts down highways, freezes power lines, and collapses supply chains overnight. This time, the warning signs are everywhere: skyrocketing fuel prices, global shipping chaos, and weather patterns that make no sense. The question isn't if things will go sideways, it's when. But here's the good news: you don't have to be caught off guard. In this video, I'm breaking down the 15 must-have items every prepper needs to stockpile before this winter gets weird. From daily essentials to grid-down survival gear, and even the overlooked items most people forget until it's too late. You'll know exactly what to get, why it matters, and how to stay warm, fed, and safe when the chaos hits. Let's get into it. Point 1. The food foundation, your calorie fortress. Let's get one thing straight. When a real crisis hits, your fancy freeze-dried gourmet meals are a luxury, not a foundation. Before you spend a fortune on buckets of survival stroganoff, you need to build your calorie fortress. This is the bedrock of your entire food plan, and it's built on 3 simple, brutally effective items: rice, beans, and pasta. Forget glamour. This is about raw survival fuel. Think about it. A few winters ago, an ice storm crippled my region. The trucks stopped rolling, and within 48 hours the grocery stores were battlegrounds for the last loaf of bread and can of soup. It was chaos. But I wasn't panicking, because my fortress was already built. While others were fighting over scraps, I had hundreds of thousands of calories sitting quietly in my pantry. That's real security. A single 25-pound bag of white rice is a powerhouse of energy that can sustain a person for weeks, and it costs next to nothing. Pair that with a bulk bag of dried beans for essential protein and fiber, and you have a complete nutritional base. Pasta is the third pillar of this trifecta. It stores for years, cooks quickly with minimal fuel, and provides a dense source of carbohydrates to keep you warm and energized when the temperature plummets. This isn't just about having food, it's about having the right These staples are cheap, dense, and will outlast almost anything else in your stockpile. But just buying them isn't enough. You have to store them correctly, or you're just wasting money. Get these foods out of their original paper or plastic bags immediately. Invest in food-grade 5-gallon buckets with gasket-sealed lids. Pack the rice, beans, and pasta into Mylar bags, drop in an appropriately sized oxygen absorber for each one, seal them tight, and then place them in the buckets. This multi-layer system protects your investment from moisture, pests, and oxygen, the 3 enemies of long-term storage. Done right, your calorie fortress will easily last 20 to 30 years. This isn't hoarding, it's a strategic reserve that ensures you can weather any storm without depending on a fragile supply chain. Point 2. No-cook nutrition. The lifeline shelf. Your calorie fortress of rice and beans will keep you from starving, but it won't keep you strong. Survival isn't just about calories, it's about usable nutrition that your body can access without power, fire, or fuss. This is where the lifeline shelf comes in. I'm talking about a dedicated stockpile of canned proteins and vegetables. When the grid is down and you're shivering in the dark, you won't be in the mood to soak beans or cook rice from scratch. You'll need food that's ready to eat straight from the can. A few years back, a brutal winter storm knocked out our power for days. The house was cold, the fridge was just a box, and morale was dropping fast. I remember popping the top on a can of chicken, eating it cold, and feeling an immediate surge of energy and clarity. It was a wake-up call. That single can of protein was more valuable in that moment than a 50-pound bag of uncooked rice. It was instant, no-cook fuel. That experience fundamentally changed my prepping strategy. Now, I prioritize a deep and varied stock of canned goods. We're talking tuna, salmon, chicken, turkey, and even ready-to-eat meals like chili, beef stew, and corned beef hash. This is your immediate access energy source. But don't stop at protein. Your body, under the stress of a cold, dark environment, will crave micronutrients. Stacking nothing but corn and green beans is a rookie mistake. You need nutritional diversity to keep your immune system from crashing. Think canned spinach, carrots, peas, beets, and mixed vegetables. The variety isn't just for your physical health, it's for your mental health. Eating the same bland food day after day is a massive morale killer. Having different textures and flavors can be a huge psychological boost when everything else seems bleak. Proper management of this shelf is non-negotiable. Every can you buy should be labeled with the purchase date using a Sharpie. Store them in a cool, dark, and dry place. Your basement or a pantry closet is ideal. Implement a strict first-in, first-out FIFO rotation system. When you bring groceries home, the new cans go to the back of the shelf and you pull your meals from the front. This ensures nothing expires and you are constantly using and replenishing your stock. Aim for items with a shelf life of at least 3 to 5 years. When you can't trust the power grid or the grocery store, this well-managed shelf of no-cook nutrition becomes your ultimate security blanket. Point 3. The hydration imperative. Your water lifeline. Let's cut to the chase. You can survive for weeks without food. You can last 3 days without water. That's not a suggestion, it's a biological deadline. All your stockpiled food, your gear, and your plans are worthless if you're dehydrated and dying of thirst. I learned this lesson the hard way one miserable winter when our town's water main burst and the pipes in my house froze solid. Suddenly, there was no tap water, no flushing toilets, nothing. I spent hours melting snow on a propane stove, a slow and fuel-intensive process for a few pitiful cups of water. It was a wake-up call to the brutal reality of water dependency. I swore right then that I would never be that vulnerable again. Your first priority is a stored water supply. The standard advice of 1 gallon per person per day is a starting point, not a destination. That gallon covers basic drinking and minimal hygiene. In a real extended crisis, you'll want more. I recommend storing a minimum of a 30-day supply. For a family of 4, that's 120 gallons. It sounds like a lot, but it's your non-negotiable life insurance. Start with commercially bottled water, as it's sealed, sterile, and has a long shelf life. Augment this with larger, more robust containers, like 7-gallon aquatainers, or if you have the space, 55-gallon water barrels. Store them in a cool, dark place, like a basement or an interior closet to prevent algae growth and plastic degradation. But stored water is a finite resource. A true prepper plans for the day the stored water runs out. This is where your purification strategy becomes critical. You need multiple, redundant methods to make questionable water safe to drink. Your primary line of defense should be a high-quality water filter. A gravity-fed system like a Berkey is fantastic for base camp, capable of purifying large volumes of water without electricity. For portability, a Sawyer squeeze or a Life Straw is essential for your bug-out bag. Your backup to the filter should be chemical purification. Keep a stock of water purification tablets and unscented household bleach. A few drops of bleach can make a gallon of water biologically safe. Having both filters and chemicals means you have a mechanical and a chemical solution, providing a layer of redundancy that could save your life when you're forced to get water from a creek, a lake, or even a rooftop rainwater collection system. Don't gamble with your hydration. Secure your water, master your purification methods, and you'll control the single most critical element of survival. Point 4. The fire core, heat and hot meals. Your food and water stockpiles are useless if you're freezing to death in the dark. Let's be blunt. Hypothermia will kill you long before starvation does. A few years ago, a winter storm knocked the power out, and the temperature inside my house plummeted. I remember the raw, biting cold seeping into my bones, and the futility of trying to warm a can of soup with a pathetic little lighter. That night taught me a fundamental truth. The ability to make fire for heat and for cooking is not a luxury, it is a core survival pillar. Without it, you're just a well-fed corpse. Your primary plan cannot be the electric grid. You need redundant, non-electric solutions for both cooking and heating. For cooking, the simplest and most reliable option is a propane camp stove. Get a quality 2-burner model and stockpile the 1-pound green cylinders. They are a clean, efficient, and relatively safe way to boil water and cook a meal indoors with proper ventilation. But what if the outage lasts for weeks? You need a deeper fuel reserve. This is where a dual-fuel stove that can run on propane or white gas comes in. or even a simple outdoor rocket stove that can burn twigs and biomass with incredible efficiency. For heat, the gold standard is a wood-burning stove, which can heat a significant portion of your home and provide a cooking surface. If you don't have one, your next best bet is a buddy heater, a portable indoor-safe propane heater. These devices are lifesavers, but you must respect the fuel. Never ever store bulk propane cylinders, gasoline, or kerosene inside your home. Fuel should be stored in a well-ventilated shed or detached garage, away from living spaces. Firewood should be stacked, covered, and seasoned well in advance. Just like your food, your fuel needs a rotation system. Use older fuel first and replace it. Treat your fuel supply with the same seriousness as your food supply. When the power is out and the temperature is dropping, the ability to make a hot meal and create a pocket of warmth isn't just about comfort, it's about maintaining morale, staying healthy, and surviving the crisis. Point 5. The thermal shield. Your personal insulation. Having heat is one thing. Keeping it is another. Your body is a furnace, but it's a furnace that leaks. In a grid-down winter scenario, plugging those leaks is the difference between staying functional and becoming a hypothermia statistic. I'll never forget a multi-day blackout where the internal temperature of my house matched the freezing rain outside. I had food and fuel, but I was dangerously cold. My fingers were stiff. I couldn't think clearly, and every movement felt sluggish. That's when the lesson hit me with the force of a physical blow. Warmth isn't a comfort, it's a critical resource you wear. Your clothing is your personal insulation, your first and last line of defense against the cold. Before winter even thinks about arriving, you need to audit and organize your thermal shield. This isn't about grabbing whatever jacket is in the closet. It's a systematic approach. The foundation of this system is layering. Forget cotton. Cotton is your enemy in the cold. It absorbs sweat, gets wet, and sucks the heat right out of your body. Your base layer, the one against your skin, must be a moisture-wicking material like merino wool or a quality synthetic. This pulls sweat away, keeping you dry. Your mid-layer is for insulation. This is where fleece jackets and wool sweaters shine. Your outer layer, or shell, must be windproof and waterproof to protect you from the elements. This three-layer system allows you to adapt to changing conditions by adding or removing layers to avoid both chilling and overheating. Don't forget the extremities. You lose a massive amount of heat through your head, hands, and feet. Stock multiple pairs of thick wool socks, insulated and waterproof gloves, and warm hats. But the real game changer is your static insulation. When you're not moving, you need to trap as much heat as possible. This is where heavy wool blankets and Mylar space blankets are non-negotiable. Mylar blankets are incredibly light and reflect up to 90% of your body heat back to you. They are cheap, compact, and should be in every vehicle, every room of your house, and every emergency bag. Wool blankets are heavy-duty workhorses. They insulate even when damp and are durable enough to last a lifetime. Don't pack this gear away in an attic. Keep a dedicated cold crash kit accessible for every member of your household. When the power dies and the cold starts creeping in, you won't have time to search. Your thermal shield must be ready to deploy instantly. Point 6. The power grid, light, and communication. When the switch flips and the world goes dark, two things happen instantly. Fear and helplessness set in. I remember one blackout where the entire city went silent. No hum from the appliances, no streetlights, just an oppressive, inky blackness. That kind of sudden, absolute darkness is disorienting. It robs you of your ability to function and makes you a prisoner in your own home. That's when I learned a critical lesson. Light is control and power is connection. Without them, you are dangerously isolated. Your plan for light cannot be the junk drawer flashlight. You need a layered, redundant lighting strategy. Your first layer is immediate, accessible light. This means high-quality LED headlamps for every person in your house. A headlamp is superior to a flashlight because it keeps your hands free to cook, navigate, or defend yourself. Your second layer is ambient light. LED lanterns, especially solar rechargeable or crank-powered ones, can illuminate a room, preserving a sense of normalcy and killing the morale-draining darkness. Forget candles, they are a pathetic light source and a massive fire hazard in a chaotic situation. Your third layer is the power for these devices. Batteries, stockpile them, but don't just toss them in a drawer. Store batteries in a cool, dry place and even better, in dedicated battery cases to prevent them from touching and draining. Rotate your stock every year, using the oldest ones for your TV remote and replacing them with fresh ones for your prep kit. But light is only half the equation. In a crisis, information is life. Your phone and a battery-powered emergency radio are your lifelines to the outside world. Keeping them charged is non-negotiable. This is where portable power banks are essential. Have several fully charged and ready to go. But power banks eventually die. Your long-term solution is a small, foldable solar panel array. On a clear day, you can lay it out and trickle charge your power banks and essential devices. It's not about running your refrigerator. It's about maintaining that critical link for communication and information. A small solar setup and a few power banks can mean the difference between being connected and informed versus being isolated and blind. In a world without power, the ability to create your own light and charge your own devices is the ultimate power move. It keeps you safe, sane, and in control. Point 7. The Fix-It Arsenal, your independence toolkit. In any survival scenario, things break. It's not a matter of if, but when. A pipe will crack in the cold, a handle will snap off a critical piece of gear, a door latch will fail. I learned this lesson during a brutal ice storm that left my house without power and froze the water lines. A cheap plastic pipe fitting shattered, and suddenly I had a major leak with no plumber to call. It was a simple, high-quality multi-tool that saved me. The pliers gripped the fitting, the screwdriver tightened a makeshift clamp, and a ton of duct tape stopped the immediate crisis. That experience hammered home a core prepper truth. Owning tools isn't about being a handyman, it's about owning your independence. When society's support systems vanish, the ability to fix, adapt, and improvise is what separates survivors from victims. Your Fix-It arsenal begins with a quality multi-tool. This isn't the place to cheap out. A reputable brand like Leatherman or Gerber is an investment that pays for itself the first time you use it. It's your pocket-sized toolbox, giving you immediate access to pliers, wire cutters, screwdrivers, a knife, and more. This tool should live on your person or in your immediate go bag, not buried in a toolbox. But a multi-tool is just the beginning. You need a dedicated grid-down toolkit. This should include a full-size hammer, an adjustable wrench, a set of screwdrivers, both flathead and Phillips, a socket set, a handsaw, and vice grips. These are the workhorses that handle bigger jobs a multi-tool can't. The third component of this arsenal is your consumables kit. This is the stuff that gets used up. Think a massive roll of duct tape, the universal field repair tool, add a healthy supply of zip ties in various sizes, a spool of baling wire, super glue, epoxy, and an assortment of common nails and screws. These simple items are the glue that will hold your world together. Store this entire toolkit somewhere easily accessible, like a designated closet or a clearly marked bin in the garage. Don't let it get buried under junk. When something critical fails at 2 a.m. in a freezing house, you need to be able to grab your tools and get to work, not go on a scavenger hunt. This isn't just about storing items, it's about building the capability to solve problems. When everything else is falling apart, your tools give you the power to create order from chaos. Point 8. The information lifeline. Radios and comms. When a crisis truly unfolds, the first casualty is information. I experienced this firsthand during a massive winter storm that took down the power grid and the cell towers with it. My phone was a useless brick. The internet was gone. The world outside my window went completely silent, and it was one of the most unnerving feelings I've ever had. In that moment, you are blind, deaf, and utterly alone. That's when the brutal reality hits you. Without communication, you are not a survivor. You are a target, waiting for something to happen to you. Information isn't a luxury. It is your eyes and ears, your lifeline to understanding the threat and making life or death decisions. This is why an emergency radio is not an optional piece of gear. It is a fundamental tool. Your primary device should be a multi-power source emergency radio. I'm talking about one that runs on a hand crank, has a built-in solar panel, and can also take standard batteries. This redundancy ensures you can always generate power to listen. These radios are designed to pick up AM, FM, and most importantly, NOAA weather bands. The NOAA broadcast is your direct line to official alerts on storms, civil emergencies, and other critical events. It operates 24/7, and when all other systems are down, this is the voice that will tell you what's happening. Many of these radios also include a built-in flashlight and a USB port to give a life-saving trickle charge to your phone. But listening is only one half of the communication equation. The other half is talking. In a localized disaster, you need a way to communicate with your family or mutual assistance group. This is where a set of GMRS radios becomes invaluable. Unlike basic walkie-talkies, GMRS General Mobile Radio Service offers significantly more power and range, especially with a quality antenna. A simple license is required, but it covers your entire family and gives you access to repeater networks in many areas, extending your communication range from a couple of miles to potentially dozens. This allows you to coordinate, check on a neighbor, or call for help within your local network when the phone lines are dead. Don't wait to be plunged into silence. Get your radio, learn how to use it, and have a communications plan. When the world goes quiet, the person who can still hear what's coming is the person who stays in control. Point 9. The Health Guardian, medical and sanitation kits. You can have a fortress of food and an armory of tools, but it's all worthless if you're taken out by something as simple as an infected cut or a preventable illness. In every major disaster I've studied or witnessed, the invisible threats, bacteria, infection, and poor sanitation cause more casualties than the initial event. People survive the storm only to be defeated by dysentery. They stockpile ammo but have no bandages. This is a fatal oversight. When the systems we rely on for cleanliness and medical care collapse, your health becomes your personal responsibility. Your medical and sanitation kit isn't just a box of supplies, it is the guardian of your group's well-being. Forget the cheap, pre-made first aid kits you buy at the drugstore. They are woefully inadequate. You need to build your own. This kit must be divided into two key areas: trauma and wellness. The trauma side deals with injuries, bleeding, breaks, and burns. This means you need more than just adhesive bandages. Stock up on pressure dressings, tourniquets, and know how to use one, chest seals, gauze rolls, and medical tape. Add a SAM splint, trauma shears, and plenty of nitrile gloves. An infected wound in a grid-down world can be a death sentence, so having the tools to stop bleeding and properly dress a wound is non-negotiable. The wellness side is about maintaining health and treating common illnesses when a doctor is not an option. This includes a robust supply of pain and fever reducers, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, anti-diarrhea medication, antihistamines for allergic reactions, and a broad-spectrum antibiotic ointment. Most importantly, stock a 90-day supply of any personal prescription medications. Don't rely on pharmacies being open. Equally critical is the sanitation kit. A lack of sanitation creates a breeding ground for disease that will tear through a stressed, weakened group. Your kit must include disinfectants like bleach and isopropyl alcohol, hand sanitizer, and soap, both bar and liquid. Stockpile toilet paper, paper towels, and heavy-duty garbage bags for waste disposal. Include feminine hygiene products, diapers if you have infants, and basic dental care items. A simple tooth infection can become a systemic, life-threatening problem without access to a dentist. Check your kits every 6 months. Rotate medications, check expiration dates, and replenish anything you've used. In a crisis, hospitals will be overwhelmed and 911 will be a memory. Your health will be entirely in your hands. This kit is your primary defense. Point 10. The Phoenix Kit. Your financial and identity reboot. Let's get something clear. Survival isn't just about weathering the storm, it's about being able to stand up and rebuild after it passes. All your food, water, and gear mean nothing if you emerge from a crisis as a nameless, penniless ghost. I saw this happen during a regional power grid failure. ATMs were dead. Credit card systems were offline. The digital economy vanished in an instant. People with 6 figures in the bank couldn't buy a bottle of water because their wealth was trapped behind a dead screen. The only thing that worked was cold, hard cash. That was a brutal lesson in the fragility of our system. Your financial and personal identity is just as vulnerable as the power grid, and you need a plan to protect it. This is your Phoenix Kit, the package that allows you to rise from the ashes. It starts with cash. In a world without power, cash is king. It doesn't need a network, it doesn't need a password. It just works. You need an emergency cash reserve, stored securely in your home. Don't go crazy. This isn't about hoarding your life savings under the mattress. It's a strategic fund to get you through the initial chaos, enough to buy fuel, food, or a room for the night if you need to evacuate. Critically, this fund must be in small, usable bills. $100 bill is useless when no one can make change. Stockpile tens, fives and one. This isn't just money, it's a tool for negotiation and transaction, when all other systems have failed. The second half of your Phoenix kit is your identity. If your house is destroyed by fire, flood, or civil unrest, can you prove who you are? Can you claim your insurance? Can you access your accounts when things come back online? You need to back up your life on paper. Make high-quality photocopies of every critical document, driver's licenses, passports, birth certificates, social security cards, property deeds, vehicle titles, and insurance policies. Don't forget a list of important phone numbers and account details. Digitize these documents and save them on multiple encrypted USB flash drives. Keep one drive in your go bag and another with a trusted person out of state. The physical copies should be sealed in waterproof bags and stored in a fireproof safe. When the crisis is over, and the world starts turning again, this kit will be the most valuable prep you have. It's your ticket back to a normal life. Point 11. The morale arsenal. Comfort food and freeze-dried meals. Let's be brutally honest. Your will to survive will break long before your body does. You can live on rice and beans for months, but the crushing monotony, the cold, and the stress will grind you down. Morale is not a soft skill in a crisis. It is a finite resource, and when it runs out, you start making fatal mistakes. I learned this during a 2-week snow-in where my diet consisted of nothing but bland staples. The turning point wasn't a lack of calories. It was finding a forgotten bag of coffee. The smell and taste of something normal, something comforting, was like a powerful drug. It was a mental reset that injected hope back into a bleak situation. That's why your morale arsenal is just as critical as your medical kit. This is where specialty freeze-dried meals earn their keep. They are not your primary calorie source. That's what the rice and beans are for. These meals are your strategic reserve for when things get psychologically tough. After days or weeks of stress, the ability to just add boiling water and have a hot meal like beef stroganoff or chicken teriyaki is a massive psychological victory. It's a taste of the world you're fighting to get back to. These meals are lightweight, have a staggering shelf life of 20-25 years, and come in single-serving pouches, which is perfect for portion control and minimizing waste. However, a critical mistake is stockpiling food you've never tasted. Not all freeze-dried food is created equal. Some brands are delicious, others taste like salty cardboard. Before you invest hundreds of dollars in bulk buckets, buy individual pouches from different companies. Test them, cook them on a camping trip or a random weeknight. Find what you and your family will actually eat. The last thing you want is to discover your morale-boosting meal is inedible when you need it most. Beyond the full meals, don't underestimate the power of small indulgences. These are the true morale game changers. Stockpile instant coffee, tea bags, hot cocoa mix, hard candy, chocolate, and peanut butter. These items are calorie-dense, require no cooking, and provide a powerful psychological lift. They are the perfect tools to break the monotony, reward small victories, or comfort a distressed family member. When you're cold, tired, and questioning everything, a hot cup of coffee or a piece of chocolate can be the fuel that keeps your spirit from freezing over. Don't think of it as a luxury, think of it as ammunition for the mental fight. Point 12. The fire element. Redundant heat and cooking. When the power grid fails in the middle of winter, your home transforms from a shelter into a refrigerator. I'll never forget the night a winter storm took out our electricity and the temperature inside the house dropped with alarming speed. You could see your breath clouding in the living room. That raw, penetrating cold is more than uncomfortable. It's a direct threat to your life. It was a small, indoor-safe propane heater that turned a potentially deadly situation into a manageable inconvenience. That night taught me the most fundamental lesson of winter survival. You can live without Netflix, but you can't live without a source of heat. Your ability to create warmth and cook food is not a backup plan. It is the plan. Your strategy for this must be layered and redundant. Do not rely on a single solution. Your first layer is for immediate, short-term outages. This is where indoor-safe propane heaters like the Mr. Heater Buddy series are invaluable. They are portable, efficient, and can keep a single room at a livable temperature. Paired with this should be a simple propane camping stove. This setup allows you to boil water, heat soup, and cook basic meals without producing excessive fumes, provided you have a window cracked for ventilation. Safety is not optional here. You must have working carbon monoxide detectors, no exceptions. Your second layer is for extended, grid-down scenarios. This requires a more robust and sustainable solution. The undisputed champion is a wood-burning stove. It provides powerful radiant heat and a reliable cooking surface, all powered by a fuel you can potentially source yourself. If a wood stove isn't feasible, consider a high-quality kerosene heater. These can heat large spaces efficiently, but you must store the fuel safely outside your living area. For cooking, an outdoor setup is essential for long-term use. A simple fire pit, a barbecue grill with plenty of charcoal or propane, or a highly efficient rocket stove that can burn twigs and small pieces of wood will be your kitchen. Finally, you need a deep supply of fire-starting tools. This means more than a single book of matches, stockpile lighters, storm-proof matches, and multiple ferrocerium rods. Keep them in different locations, in your kitchen, in your go bag, in your vehicle. Practice using them in cold, wet conditions. Don't wait for a freezing crisis to discover your lighter is out of fluid or your matches are damp. Your ability to command the fire element to create heat and cook food on demand is what separates a desperate victim of the cold from a prepared survivor.